For television shows, each time a song is used on air, you generally earn income twice. First, you will usually, although not always, receive a licensing fee up front, which is a fee that's paid for the right to use your song in whatever broadcast your song is being used in. Additionally, you will also receive what's called a performance royalty after your song has aired. The royalty amount varies based on a number of factors, including the length of the segment as well as how prominently it's used. Each performance generates both a writer's and a publisher's royalty, which are two halves of what are collectively known as a performance royalty. If you work with a music publisher, you both essentially get half of the entire performance royalty. If you are able to place your music without the aid of a publisher, you'll retain both the writer's share and publisher's share of the performance royalty. Again, the amount varies, but to give you an example, the first song I had placed was in a scene that lasted about 55 seconds on a daytime drama. The royalty check I received for the placement was over $800, and in addition, I also received a licensing fee in the amount of $500. So for one song that aired for less than a minute on daytime television, I made $1,300. Not bad for less than a minute of airtime. When it comes to licensing your music for use in television, you can make as little as $50 or as much as several $1,000s per placement, depending on the placement. Personally, I've received as little as about $350 for a song that was used briefly in a daytime TV show, and as much as $3,000 for a song that was used in a different show and featured very prominently. Of course, these figures are based on when the show initially airs, and if and when a TV show is rebroadcast, you receive another check. I know one writer, a friend of mine, who still receives checks for a song he wrote for an HBO movie 13 years ago. Theatrical releases in the United States do not generate performance royalties when they are shown in theaters. However, the licensing fees songwriters earn for these placements are typically much higher. When it comes to major motion pictures, unknown independent writers usually receive at least $3,000 to $4,000 or more per song used for feature films. Although there are no performance royalties for films in theatrical release, if your song is used in a soundtrack, you'll receive royalties for CD sales, and if and when the film is played on television, you'll receive performance royalties for your music at that time as well. I get a lot of questions regarding how much money can be made from music licensing, and of course there are many variables, so there really isn't a one-size-fits-all answer. I know several musicians who make very good full-time six-figure incomes from music licensing, and I know quite a few more that make substantial part-time income that they use to supplement their overall income. The latter is the strategy that I have implemented in my career, and it's served me really well over the years. As record labels continue to flounder and as the internet continues to make it easier to reach new music fans, it's become apparent that musicians are in a new and unique position. Creating a viable and sustainable music career without the assistance of a behemoth record label has never been easier. Not that it's easy, not that it's a piece of cake, but it's doable, and more musicians that I know personally are taking matters into their own hands and creating their own fate. It's really inspiring to watch. Licensing your music, of course, should be a part of your overall career strategy. I can't think of a reason any musician, regardless of what stage they're at, wouldn't want to take advantage of licensing their music in TV and films and on the internet and all the different licensing opportunities that exist. If you're managing yourself and you're also concentrating on developing a performing career, then of course you'll need to manage your time accordingly. But I would suggest spending some time, maybe an hour or so a day, pursuing licensing opportunities. Make it an overall part of your career strategy. Keep in mind, though, keep in mind that like anything else, you'll need to continue working on the licensing aspect of your career. It will be easier to maintain over time as you become more established and get the ball rolling. Working with a publisher, if that's the route you go, is sort of like working with a manager in the context of the music licensing niche. So although it might take you some time to find someone to represent you, when you're getting started. Once you do, you'll have someone that you'll be working in partnership with who will be helping you get your music into the right hands on an ongoing basis.